Hello, welcome to Tarot with Tanya. 7 cards for 7 days, and we are beginning with the week of July 3rd. So, happy 4th of July to everybody in the States. And then we also have on Monday a full moon in Capricorn. So, we've recently, I mentioned in the last couple of videos, I believe, recently had Pluto retrograde back into Capricorn. And I really feel that. I felt it both personally, and I feel it in the sense that the power has been shown to us to belong to certain small groups recently. Yeah, thinking of that Supreme Court and a bunch of very against the people decisions that recently got made. Could not help but think about how that related to Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn, which is all about the plutocracy. So it won't be until early next year that it stops that retrograde and starts to go back into Aquarius. Yeah, I feel like we need that energy in a big way. So here we also have this Capricorn moon. It is all things material, again about power. It can be on the light side, all about responsibility, good father kinds of energy, good stewardship. But the dark side is definitely connected to the patriarchy, to the greed, the power, the control, and so forth. So if you see some of that going on, know that that could very well be why, and it gets exacerbated at times like this when we have this full moon, and that begins early Monday morning. And we go through the week. So the next it will be the moon in Aquarius, which again is power to the people. And then we'll go through Pisces, the dreamy side, the very artistic. The dark side of that can be delusional. The dark side of Aquarius can be also a kind of thinking I'm right, or I know the answers, that sort of energy too. And then we'll go through the Aquarius to the Pisces, and then we'll end next weekend, Sunday, with the moon in Aries. So that's all about the self, the individual, personal strength, a kind of warrior energy. So it can be very energetic and initiate, get a lot of things done. I'll let that warrior side speak for itself. It can also be hasty, impatient, a little bit too warlike. All right. So let's see what the cards have to say for us this week. I am using Guardian of the Night Tarot. And our first card is the Nine of Pentacles. And this card frequently has the association of material goods with it. Often you'll see a bird sitting on someone's shoulder, and you have a little suggestion of that. It's hard to see, but there is a small bird sort of, back by the shoulder of our sleeping creature here. And a bear, I believe, and very content, very safe. The world is good at this point. It can be about dreaming of wealth, dreaming of material goods, things like that, though this cave looks like it has good provisions for our sleeping bear. So that's our Monday energy. And with nines, they tend to be very peak numbers. You run into the 10, and then the energy comes back around to the 1. So that's a good solid start. And it does fit with the Capricorn moon too, that earthy energy, because Pentacles are of the earth. We continue the Pentacles energy into Tuesday with the Knight of Pentacles. And though, yes, it's a masculine because it's night, it's feminine too because it is a pentacle and earth energy. And in general, the reading for this week is like this. We have a divine masculine and feminine pair that shows up. It starts off very feminine and then ends with a little bit more of this masculine energy. But this is a slow night because it's of the earth energy, likes to get things done in a very steady way. Sometimes there's a sense of humor associated with this character. And I think with our donkey here, our mule perhaps, that we are reminded, about being a little bit silly, things like that. So that can be an aspect of this card. It can represent a very well-grounded male too, because of that energy of, again, the masculine with the knight and the feminine with the pentacles. With an eye on the prize too. So, again, it continues, and Tuesday will also be moon in Capricorn, so continuing that energy. When we switched to Aquarius, or around about that time, we move into our Wednesday with the Empress card. She's all about the bounty, the deep feminine. Like the High Priestess is the deep feminine, but in a more internal spiritual way. This one is more external. It's also connected to the World card because they're both threes. So she's obviously a major, so that holds a stronger, more enduring kind of energy as a major. So it's actually a great, over the hump day kind of card. It can feel very nurturing, very grounding, very secure. The dark side of that could be feeling a bit smothered, a little over-mothered, or being over-mothering, that kind of energy. But in general, very good vibes with the Empress card. When we get to Thursday, we have another feminine element, which is the cups, representing the water. That's where the feminine element comes in. And here we have the six. The sixes are all connected to the lovers. They tend to be pretty happy cards, most of them. And this one can be about nostalgia, reminiscing with someone about the past, or just, by yourself, reminiscing about the past. Here we have these two very sweet elephants playing in the water. They've got their cups and lotuses. And if you look in the background, you see these two more shadowy elephants. And that kind of makes me think that there is the self perhaps in the background, and then dreaming of this beautiful time. So maybe there's some energy from your past that you can carry forward into the present. I'm very much a believer in trying to use our creativity, our imagination in positive ways. Sometimes, of course, we dwell on the past and we bring forth negative emotions, memories, things like that. Here, very much bringing from the past into the present, really happy, good memories. Our Friday is the World. So here's that 3 again. I had mentioned how the Empress is connected to the World. 21 here, which reduces the numerology to the 3. So this is the close of a major cycle. This might be personal, this might be transpersonal. Astrologically, I cannot think of anything in particular that day or around that day that is a kind of rebirth energy. We'll be moving into the waning moon, so it's shrinking. Once we have that full moon, of course, it starts on that cycle. So it could fit with that, I suppose. That could be a kind of personal closing cycle, and then again maybe look into the transpersonal. What might really change on that day? That's interesting. If it's internal, it can be like a lesson learned. You have mastered something. You've gone through a big cycle and come out on the other side. So we'll be looking to see what happens that day. It is creative because the 3s are all creative. So the Empress, all of the minor 3s, we can use them for, again, in the positive way or the negative way, but they all have creativity to them. So when we reach our Saturday, this is the first really strong masculine energy we've had for the week. And this is the Knight of Wands. So it's our second night, but this one's a double masculine because wands are a masculine energy as well, representing fire. So the Knight of Wands, I like I'll just see if I can bring it in close enough so you can see a very intense look in the eyes here. And this card has that quality. It can be very quick. It can be hasty. But it also can be using instinct and making a very fast action, some kind of movement towards something desired, towards something wanted in the future, and going for it now. So that is that energy. So know that for next weekend, and maybe try to schedule yourself in a way where you can let that kind of energy express itself in a way that you feel good about, not in the hasty way. Then when we get to Sunday, our final reading for this week, our final card from the tarot, we have the Emperor. So there's our divine masculine to the divine feminine, which came up on Wednesday, the Empress. So here they are in this week. Helping us balance those energies, I believe. We are very much in a time where, at least I believe, and many others do as well, that the old masculine energies have reached their peak, that we have become out of balance with them. So I really like seeing them both here as a reminder that it's not that we want it to be all feminine. It's not that we want it to be all masculine. We want that balance. When do we need to use those energies that might be a more assertive, a little bit more pointed, a little bit more forceful? And when do we need to be more receptive, softer, gentler, those kinds of energies? So it's not about gender. It's about balancing those kinds of energies. So in a big picture way this week, those two, that pair, masculine and feminine, Empress and Emperor, seem really important, but then we also have that world. But I feel like that world is that the balance of the two, that when we get them in balance, the idea of the World card is that things are always regenerating. And I do feel like that energy, sometimes you'll see a spiral on this card. But here, of course, when we have the bee, it's such an important part of life, our pollination, creating the wonderful honey that most everyone loves. And just the beautiful depiction here of being in this golden circle of light with all of these flowers and other sparks of light all around. So again, that coming together, that balancing out seems to be the real theme this week. And starting with that softer energy of the feminine, and then moving into a little bit stronger energy toward the weekend of the masculine. For our oracle card for this week, I'm using the Crystal Angels oracle cards, and the card that came up is the Garnet. And it looks like this. And you can see right away at the bottom that it's about purification and detoxification, which came up when I was meditating this morning. There's been an awful lot of nasty air quality here in Iowa, a lot of the Midwest, upper Midwest, because of the wildfires that are happening in Canada. And I feel so terrible for them. But, it hasn't been good here for the breathing. And, I was thinking about the how do we protect ourselves, the detoxification. And, Spirit was just saying to me in a bigger sense, we have, a way an energy way. Again, this out of balance, patriarchal energy that really is coming down. So it's almost like there's a psychic dust in the air because of that as well, that we're all sort of navigating. It's like, you know, it's hard to watch things come down, and it can be nerve-wracking, and our inner security can get thrown. Even if we're not totally tuned in, we might feel that on a more subtle level. So I thought this card was perfect for all of that. The purification and detoxification of garnet. This card probably validates what you've already been sensing. It's time to release physical and energetic toxins from your life. In particular, this is a necessary change to support your health. What's the first thing that comes to mind to detox? Perhaps you have been receiving inner divine guidance to enjoy a clean energy diet or to abstain from chemicals. Or maybe you are feeling called to avoid harsh energy in relationships, on social media, in your daily activities, or in the media in general. This is a supportive time for you to make this healthful shift. Reach out for qualified help if addictions are creating uncontrollable cravings. Prayer can also help you purify your motivations and intentions so that you are inspired from your higher self instead of your ego. With higher vibrational intentions, your manifestations will be more fulfilling and satisfying. And that is also a big part of this energy change, of moving out of that ego, you know, very head kind of comparative energy that, you know, we've all been raised in. It has its place. But I do think it's keeping us away, blocked in a sense from our higher gifts, moving into our heart energy. Again, going back to that wonderful balance between the divine, masculine, and feminine. So, beloveds, it's a tough time. There's just no doubt about it in many ways. So I'm wishing you all a great week. Please always remember, take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind. If I can help you with a personal reading, you know, we can look at all kinds of questions that you might have about your life, questions about who's around you in spirit, things like that. Please do reach out. You'll find my information in the description box below, and then a little bit at the end of this video. So wishing you all a beautiful journey.